Hi, I'm Sallie Showalter, and I've recently released a novel, Next Train Out. I'm grateful to the Carnegie Center for giving me this opportunity to tell you just a little bit about it. In 2017-2018, I was a participant in the Carnegie Center's Author Academy. And it was during that time that I developed the structure and the two voices that you'll find in the novel. Before I read a brief passage, let me tell you just a little bit about this story. It's about two mismatched Kentuckians who marry in midlife during the Great Depression. The book opens in 1941, and Effie Mae Board and her husband Lyons are living in Sparrows Point, Maryland, where she has just discovered something significant about her husband's early life that she did not know. As she works to uncover the truth, the reader gets glimpses of that early life of Lyons. I'm going to read a section from that time in Lyons' life. It's 1929, before he has married Effie Mae. He has accepted a job as a chef at the Waldorf Hotel in Toledo, and he's just getting to know the town. Lyons, Saturday, April 6, 1929. I downed my third bourbon, precisely two more of the second-tier Canadian stuff than I needed, as the disembodied voice began to take shape. Smoky, confident, teasing the others it ensnared in conversation. It would rise and fall, battling the trumpet for the brightest notes, swinging with the sax when it got on a roll. Masculine laughter accompanied it. Somehow, that voice managed to drag the spotlight away from the musicians, and its owner had no intention of relinquishing it. I craned my neck to see around the dark-suited figures surrounding her at the bar. I caught a bob of wavy brown hair, a sleek pale green sleeveless dress draping a figure with sharp corners, tapered fingers theatrically waving a cigarette, an assured silhouette with a hint of harshness. Was it just the light? And a nose that seemed more than capable of sniffing out Tommy rot. There was a sly smile, a sneer, and an arched spine as she threw back her head and released a deep and throaty laugh. She pulled me toward her without even knowing I was there. I found no way to resist. It was crowded, as usual, at Chateau La France. The lushly furnished dining room felt comfortably overstuffed with men and women, most professing respectability in other aspects of their lives, who had nonetheless made the 8-mile drive out Dorr Street in the narrow dirt road that led to Toledo's poshest speakeasy, a 3-story barn-shaped former mansion sitting next to the original family's bottled water plant. Just a couple of years before, Chet Marks had correctly identified the out-of-the-way location as an appropriate headquarters for his rum-running, high-stakes gambling, ladies of the evening beseeching operation. The lavish dining experience was intended to camouflage the underworld business that kept it all propped up. It was the decent white man's den of iniquity. On repeated visits, I had come to recognize newspapermen, ex-ball players, and gangsters among the patrons. Other faces soon became familiar, dissolute denizens of the night and the women who clung to them. And then there were the businessmen I had seen at the hotel, but whom I scrupulously failed to acknowledge. Initially, I kept my distance from most of the patrons, cautiously assessing the predictable dangers for someone trying to get a measure of the scene, someone who had casually tossed aside a rather conventional life to gamble on finding something better, someone who had a lot at stake. I no longer feared the law was trying to track me down, but I was nonetheless acutely aware of the legal tightrope the establishment trod. I didn't need to get caught up in a raid and have officers of the law scrutinize my history. I had a good job, a good future. I had prospects. In the beginning, I told myself I came to check out the highly touted 8-course dinners, competition, I averred, to meals we served at the staid and stuffy Waldorf. Once I got past the chateau's fortified front door and the peephole inspection by its gatekeeper, I discovered that the free-flowing hooch, whatever its caliber, heightened the allure. I occasionally checked out the gambling on the second floor, but I never allowed myself to visit the damsels on the third. Sir Knight William E. Board, eminent Grand Warder, had taught me all I needed to know about that. Soon, however, it became clear that I really made the pilgrimage west of town for the music. Rowdy, free-wheeling, soul-stirring, smile-inducing, get-up-and-shake-your-backside music. Whether it was Art Tatum at the piano or the Toledo Terror on the trombone, the bold, brassy, provocative sounds dragged you onto the dance floor in search of a partner. I was never so grateful for those adolescent cotillions that had boosted my confidence as well as my ability to feign deference to the ladies. At the Chateau La France and at La Tabernille on East Bayshore Road, the crowd was white. The waistcoated waiters and the romp-stomping musicians were usually black. Propriety was paramount. No mixing of the races here, not like at the Black and Tan Cafe, chalky red Yaranowski's place over in the Tenderloin district, where blacks and whites danced together, spurred by the African rhythms of Satan's music. That neighborhood was home to poor Negroes and poor immigrant Jews, with a weekend population of curious whites hell-bent on selling their soul to the devil. I'd had some fun there on a Friday night. The good citizens of Toledo seemed willing to tolerate blacks rubbing elbows with whites when the outcome was a rollicking good time, such as when the Mudhens let Moses Fleetwood Walker play catcher for them back in the 1880s, the first time a baseball team had dared to have two races on the field at the same time. The Black and Tan was a marked step up from the other blind pigs, with their questionable booze and even more questionable women. When the cops weren't making a charade of raiding those places, they were blending in with the crowd, kicking back rock gut and tapping their feet to the raucous music. Tonight, however, one of the hottest jazz bands in the nation, McKinney's Cotton Pickers, had the crowd at Chateau La France in a frenzy. Some of the original band members hailed from Springfield, where they had studied music at Wilberforce. It pained me that I had never been able to get Louise to spend an evening at a club. The wise sages at her church had convinced her that jazz was a dangerous aphrodisiac, the ruination of civil society. I, of course, assumed that was one reason to go. Thank you. I hope I've piqued your interest and you might be interested in picking up a copy of Next Train Out.